Hare Krishna. Is it audible to everyone?
Yes, Prabhu.
So in our previous discussions, we had covered, I believe we covered and completed chapter 6. So today we will begin with chapter 7. Today we'll begin with chapter 7.
बिल्कुल वैसा हाई स्पिरिट में
अच्छा प्रो क्लास चल रहा बैकग्राउंड प्रो का प्रो का
So beginning with chapter 7. What is 37? Chapter 6 is not completed. I believe we had covered last section Paramatma feature, and in that only Yogi Nama Sarvesham also. Dealing with the mind and Yogi Nama Sarvesham. Dealing with the mind and Yoginam Sarvesham both were done the same way. The section was from 33 33 to 38 to 47. The mind deviates the yogi, what is his destination? Okay, so we have not covered 38 to 47. 6th chapter. So 33 to 37 talks about mind control. If the mind is the main obstacle on the path of yoga. And 38 to 47, the discussion goes into that if the mind tricks the yogi and the yogi gets deviated, what is the destination of the yogi? That is described in 38 to 45, ending with Yogi Nam Sarvesham. So have we covered the last section? Okay, if we have not covered, we will cover it today.
Last verse we haven't finished. Yogi Nam Api Sarvesham we have not reached.
last section
Yeah, if you have covered the section 38 to 45, then Yoginam might have been covered. That only. But if you have not covered the section, we will take it up today. Fine, let's take it up today, no problem. Next week we'll start chapter 7. Ashchinnobhaya vibrastas chinnabhram iva nashyati apratishto mahabahu vimudo brahmanopati. Mighty Am Krishna, does not such a man who is bewildered from the path of transcendence fall away from both spiritual and material success and perish like a riven cloud with no position in any sphere? There are two ways to progress. Those who are materialists have no interest in transcendence. Therefore, they are more interested in material advancement by economic development. जय श्री श्री निताई चांद गौर चांद भगवान की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी सुदर्शन महाराज शील प्रभुपाद की जय। Or in promotion to the higher planets by appropriate work. When one takes to the path of transcendence, one has to cease all material activities and sacrifice all forms of so-called material happiness. If the aspiring transcendentalist fails, then he apparently loses both ways. In other words, he can enjoy neither material happiness nor spiritual success. He has no position. He is like a riven cloud. Cloud in the sky sometimes deviates from a small cloud and joins a big one. But if it cannot join a big one, then it is blown away by the wind and becomes a non-entity in the vast sky. The Brahmanapati is the path of transcendental realization through knowing oneself to be spiritual in essence. Part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, who is manifested as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Lord Shri Krishna is the fullest manifestation of the Supreme Absolute Truth, and therefore one who is surrendered to the Supreme Person is a successful transcendentalist. To reach this goal of life through Brahman and Paramatma realization takes many, many births. Bahunam janmanamante. Therefore, the supermost path of transcendental realization is the Bhakti Yoga or Krishna consciousness, the direct method. एतान्मेव संशयं कृष्ण छेतुम् अर्हसि अशेषतः त्वदन्या संशयस्यस्य चेतना हि उपपद्यते. This is my doubt, O Krishna, and I ask you to dispel it completely. But for you, no one is to be found who can destroy this doubt. Krishna is the perfect knower of past, present, and future. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord said, all the living entities existed individually in the past. They exist now in the present, and they continue to retain individual identity in the future, even after liberation from the material entanglement. So he has cleared up the question of the future of. Now Arjuna wants to know of the future of the unsuccessful transcendentalist. No one is equal to or above Krishna. And certainly the so-called great sages and philosophers who are at the mercy of the material nature cannot equal him. Therefore, the verdict of Krishna is the final and complete answer to all the doubts, because he knows past, present, and future perfectly. But no one knows him, Krishna, and Krishna conscious devotees alone can know what is what. This particular section brings us to understanding an amazing vibhuti of the process of devotional service. Material sense gratification is often seen or observed to be in hand. It's very quick. Immediately one can grab it. Whereas spiritual enjoyment spiritual advancement seems to be a long affair. And because it's a long and subtle affair, there is a likelihood that it can engender doubts. And Arjuna is presenting such a kind of a doubt. So Arjuna is saying that I, as a small cloud living in Italy, trying to join the big cloud, that is the supreme spiritual entourage of the Lord. If I am unable to, then I become a riven cloud. So it's a valid question. Many times people say a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Now, what if that bush is referring to the uh, to the Vrindavan's bush? Uh, to bush in the Vrindavan. So does the practice of spiritual life go against the grain of the normal mundane logic uh, which drives material activities? So does it go against the grain of the saying, bird in hand is better than two in the bush? Because sense gratification seems to be in hand. But what about Krishna consciousness? And especially having understood that the mind is so powerful and obstinate, and it can create such a formidable obstacle in the progress of devotional service. So, Srila Prabhupada explains an interesting point in the purport. The Prabhupada says this path of self-realization is realized in 3 progressive stages. We know that. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that Brahman and Paramatma stages or the path leading to Brahman and Paramatma stages, that is the Jnana and the Dhyana Marga and the Jnana Marga. These 2 paths are very, very slow. It will take hundreds of births, birth after birth. And Prabhupada is quoting Jnanavan Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam. It's a very beautiful line of thought Prabhupada is presenting. And then Srila Prabhupada is saying, so therefore if one wants to make fast progress, better take to bhakti, the process of bhakti. Now we say, okay, question is whether I'll be a river cloud or not. And how is the answer of Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan and the process of bhakti related to it? It's quite interesting. What is interesting is and you see the point is that when one is say for example passing through an area in one's so suppose one is driving through an area which happens to be a very notorious area in terms of robbery or thievery or so on. And somehow or other one happens to land up in that area. It's a notorious area and one happens to land up in that area. What is to be done? That is the question. What is to be done? Should one be sitting down relaxing under a tree in that area? Should one be stopping at every 2 kilometers to take a selfie and click some video clipping for the Instagram? Or should one be rushing through it? Badly and madly rushing through it. To just get done with that area and be a little more secure. That is the point. So mind is formidable, there is no doubt about it. But much of it comes from, or much of it is owing to the fact that this material world is a notorious place where one's consciousness and chetana can be abducted and taken off, sabotaged at any moment. And we know that mind is the hook to the material worlds. It is the mind which is a device which actually forces or pulls the spirit soul with nothing to give and take with the material world, to become attached to the material world, to identify with the objects of this material world, and thus to enter the material world. It is the mind. So therefore, the principle which comes up is that okay, this material world is a notorious place and it's notorious instrument by which that all the intense entanglement and bewilderment of the material world is brought about is the mind. So understanding now we are all in a situation that we have entered this material world. Nothing can be done about it. Already entered. We're already inside. So one cannot change that fact. And now therefore the point comes that because we are there in the material world now, let us drive very fast. So at least get done with this notorious area, the material world. Get done with this notorious area. Get done with the mind, which is the trigger point or the source point of all kinds of uncertainties and bewilderments. And that is why the mention is here that now that is why Prabhupada is saying at least stick and hook to the path of bhakti because you can course through fast. At least one can course through fast. So that means that even without knowing anything about anything much about the nature and characteristic of bhakti, one thing can still be understood that bhakti is the most effective vehicle in this predicament at least, because we can go very fast. So fast that the provocations and degradations, the robbers and thieves of provocations and degradations cannot catch, cannot chase. That is the point. And whenever there is mercy of the spiritual masters and the Vaishnavas, we get a top up in speed. So that is why the process of bhakti is so beautiful that one can already bhakti is coming with a default high speed. On that also one can top up the speed. By pleasing and serving the Vaishnavas. And this is the first vibhuti which Srila Prabhupada is touching upon very beautifully. Now in the next verse, Arjuna is speaking that Krishna, I have full faith in you. You tell me for final, what is the reality? Will I become like a riven flower? You tell me for final. Here we learn yet another ingredient of the process of bhakti. The process of bhakti begins, moves, and culminates in having, maintaining, increasing our faith in Krishna. How long? Very long. As long as Krishna wants. So the gopis of Rajadam epitomize this very feeling because the gopis of Rajadam, they were somehow or the other maintaining their lives because Krishna had told he will come back. But when? That the Lord did not tell. So they were waiting and waiting and waiting. For how long? For more than 100 years. But the Lord did go back. So therefore, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that this is the consciousness of Ashlishya Padaratam, Tinashtuma, Adarshana Marmahatam Karut. That, O Lord, I am your eternal servant. You can behave with me as you like. You can embrace me, you can neglect me, kick me off. Yet I remain your eternal servitor, unconditionally. So this is faith. Arjuna is expressing that faith. Interestingly, more there is faith, more there is speed of advancement in bhakti. Let's read further. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Parthanaiveha Namutra Vinashastasya Vidyate Nahi Kalyana Krit Kaschid Durgatim Tata Gacchati. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pritha, the transcendentalist, engaged in auspicious activities, does not meet with destruction either in this world or in the spiritual world. One who does good, my friend, is never overcome by evil. Purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17, Shri Narad Muni instructs Vyasadeva as follows. Bhaktva swadharmam charanam bhujam hare bhajana bhakvotapate tato yati yatra kvahvabhadram abud amusyaki yovarthaptu bhajatam sudharmataha. If someone gives up all material prospects and takes complete shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no loss or degradation in any way. On the other hand, a non-devotee may fully engage in his occupational duties and yet not gain anything. For material prospects, there are many activities, both scriptural and customary. The transcendentalist is supposed to give up all material activities for the sake of spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness. One may argue that by Krishna consciousness, one may attain the highest perfection if it is completed. But if one does not attain such a perfectional stage, then he loses both materially and spiritually. It is enjoined in the scriptures that one has to suffer the reaction for not executing prescribed duties. Therefore, one who fails to discharge transcendental activities properly becomes subjected to these reactions. The Bhagavatam assures unsuccessful transcendentalists that there need be no worries. Even though he may be subjected to the reaction for not perfectly executing prescribed duties, he is still not a loser. Because auspicious Krishna consciousness is never forgotten. And one so engaged will continue to be so, even if he is low born in the next life. On the other hand, one who simply follows strictly the prescribed duties need not necessarily attain auspicious results if he is lacking in Krishna consciousness. The purport may be understood as follows. Humanity may be divided into two sections, the regulated and the non-regulated. Those who are engaged simply in bestial sense gratifications, without knowledge of the next life or spiritual salvation, belong to the non-regulated section. And those who follow the principles of prescribed duties in the scriptures are classified amongst the regulated section. The non-regulated section, both civilized and non-civilized, educated and non-educated, strong and weak are full of animal propensities. Their activities are never auspicious because, while enjoying the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, they perpetually remain in material existence, which are always measurable. On the other hand, those who are regulated by scriptural injunctions and who thus rise gradually to Krishna consciousness certainly progress in life. Those who are following the path of auspiciousness can be divided into three sections: the followers of the scriptural rules and regulations, who are enjoying material prosperity; those who are trying to find an ultimate liberation from material existence; and those who are devotees of Krishna consciousness. So, those who are following rules and regulations of the scriptures for material happiness may be further divided into those who are fruitive workers and those who desire no fruit for sense gratification. Those who are after fruitive results for sense gratification may be elevated to a higher standard of life, even to the heavenly planets, higher planets, but still they are not free from material existence. They are not following the truly auspicious path. The only auspicious activities are those which lead one to liberation. So, any activity which is not aimed at ultimate self realization or liberation from the bodily concept of life is not at all auspicious. Activity in Krishna consciousness is the only auspicious activity, and anyone who voluntarily accepts all bodily discomforts for the sake of making progress in Krishna consciousness path can be called a perfect transcendentalist under severe austerity. And because the Eightfold Yoga system is directed towards ultimate realization of Krishna consciousness, such practice is also auspicious. And no one who is trying his best in this matter need fear degradation. Arthanaiveha namutra vinashastasya vidyate. A devotee so engaged is never going to meet destruction, inevitable destruction. Yeah, degradation. So what is he going to get? The Lord explains in the next verse. This is chapter 41, text 41. Unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. The unsuccessful yogis are divided into two categories. One is fallen after very little progress, and one is fallen after long practice of yoga. The yogi who falls after a short period of practice goes to the higher planets, where the pious living entities are allowed to enter. After prolonged life there, one is sent back again to this planet to take a birth in the family of righteous Brahman Vaishnava or of aristocratic merchants. The real purpose of yoga practice is to achieve highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, as explained in the last verse of this chapter. But those who do not persevere to such an extent and who fails because of material allurements are allowed by the grace of the Lord to make full utilization of their material propensities. And after that, they are given opportunities to live prosperous lives in righteous or aristocratic families. Those who are born in such families may take advantage of the facilities and try to elevate themselves in full Krishna consciousness. Process of bhakti The Lord is emphasizing Partha Naivehana Mutra. The person who is embarking on this process of bhakti is never going to meet destruction. Vinashastasya vidyate. This vinash will not happen at all. Why? Because the process of bhakti drags the living entity. See, the Prabhupada explains that once having begun the process of bhakti, the nature of bhakti is it brings back the living entity back in bhakti, brings back the living entity in bhakti again. So therefore, one is dragged towards perfection, Prabhupada says, because that is the nature of bhakti. This process of bhakti is likened or equated to a fire. So if the fire is ignited, the fire will do the job. So once this fire is ignited, then it slowly starts burning. Starts burning. So this goes to show that now when we compare the relative powers of, we understand sense gratification is also addictive. And here we are seeing that bhakti also has the power of dragging or persisting or pulling the living entity forward. So in that sense, now if we compare the relative powers of the two, the power of addiction is not that uh, great as the power of bhakti to purify. And that is why it is the nature of bhakti. Prabhupada is quoting Narada Muni is that how one who gives up everything for satisfying Krishna, there is no loss for such a person. Tva sudharmam charanam bhajam her bhajana pakko tha pate to yadi. Tva sudharmam charanam bhajam her. So one who gives up the material activities to catch or grab Krishna, such a person there is no loss. The Lord is saying that there is no loss. The Lord is going to facilitate. There is no loss. The Lord is going to facilitate. Here the Lord is saying that the unsuccessful transcendentalist, the transcendentalist is unsuccessful because of having a lot of material desires. That point is very clear. And therefore the Lord is saying that the Lord will give them uh, the best opportunity to satisfy their desires in such a way that they will not occur karma. And after that, the Lord will facilitate their bhakti by giving them birth in the family of Brahmanas or the family of rich merchants, both of which can be a good facility for bhakti. So this goes to show that the practice of bhakti in whatever quantity and mindset is done is going to create an everlasting auspicious effect, rather very powerful and intense auspicious effect. The acharyas explain that the practice of bhakti is so powerful that person, once he has tasted the taste of bhakti, sure enough such a person cannot relish the taste of the material world for long. On one's own, a person will be frustrated and come out of it. The example is Pururava Maharaj. He himself got frustrated with his Sanskarification. He had to pay a very heavy price for it. But he himself got frustrated. Why? Because he had done some amount of devotional service. So it took time and he was frustrated. And that is the beauty of devotional service. But obviously, a devotee would never like to land up into such a predicament and stage, because a devotee would like progress towards Krishna in continuity and not have any no, breaks, gaps, sleep offs. But even if such a stage comes, there is no loss, because that bhakti which is done will be a pulling force back again. So this is the great vibhuti of bhakti. That having begun once, it is not so easy to stop. Having sincerely experienced the taste of bhakti, it is not so easy to forget it. In the worst case, this practice and experience of bhakti remains as the worst case scenario. This very previous practice of bhakti remains like an explosive gunpowder in the person's heart. And whenever again there is an ignition which is transferred or transmitted by a devotee of the Lord, immediately the explosion takes place. The entire material mindset with the conditionings and bad habits get exploded. Immediately that explosion takes place. So many times we see many devotees picking up Krishna consciousness like fire. What is the difference? They were carrying some gunpowder. Therefore, as soon as the ignition from the devotee came, immediately there is explosion in their hearts. And they are able to take it up immediately. This is a testimony to the efficacy of bhakti. So in the worst case, bhakti remains as a gunpowder in the heart. There's a worst case performance. That's the worst case performance. The bhakti remains like gunpowder in the heart. Let's read further. Text 42. Or if unsuccessful after a long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly, such a birth is rare in this world. Birth in a family of yogis or transcendentalists, those with great wisdom, is praised herein because the child born in such a family receives a spiritual impetus from the very beginning of life. It is especially the case in the Acharya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but now they have degenerated due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists, generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Om Vishnupal, Shri Srimad, Bhakti Siddhanta, Saraswati, Goswami Maharaj, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families by the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system. 43. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Guru. King Bharat, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahman, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bharat was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet had been known among the demigods as Bharatvarsha. Formerly, it was known as Ilavritvarsha. The emperor, at an early age, retired for spiritual perfection but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana. And was known as Jada Bharat because he always remained secluded, and did not talk to anyone. And later on, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugan. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors of the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness. It is being explained here in this section that birth in a family of devotees and Vaishnavas is a great benediction. And it is very rare, as is being explained, it is a very rare phenomenon. Because such a birth ensures that gunpowder of bhakti of the previous life is ignited instantly. Is ignited instantly. So when Prabhupada is talking about enough families which produce pure devotees and the opportunity, then we see the characteristic feature of such families is that right from the birth, the facility to practice Krishna consciousness is given profusely. So therefore the Lord is saying that an unsuccessful yogi, but who has practiced to a great extent, something little bit is remaining, will not be sent for material desire because he has very little. Will not be sent to the heavenly planets. And instead of being born in the family of Brahmanas or merchants, one will be born in a family of devotees, transcendentalists. So this goes to show that if one wants one's children, or if one wants a progeny of great transcendentalists, the prerequisite is that one's own bhakti has to be of a very high transcendental caliber. Because if we see, the demigods run the AI engine, which simply categorizes every living entity's heart into whether this fellow is a pious fellow, the Brahman fellow, or is a transcendentalist. So that is the point. So therefore we see devotees performing uh, we really see acharyas performing great tapasya, so that we can have transcendental progeny. So Devaki Vasudev are performing great tapasya to have progeny, to have son like Krishna. And Krishna said, there can nobody be like me. I only have to die. Thus they became the transcendental father and mother, Lord Krishna. So the Lord is always in the mood of facilitation. The Lord is in the mood of facilitation always. And therefore we have to understand that the process in the practice of bhakti is always going to get facilitation forward and forward. So if the Lord sees serious practice, the Lord is going to facilitate serious. And the Lord sees diluted practice, the Lord is going to facilitate dilutions also. And this should give us an understanding that if the process and the practice of bhakti is diluted, it is going to waste a lot of time because the Lord will facilitate the dilutions. And by the time the facilitation happens, a lot of time is going to be passed. A lot of time is going to be passed. But if the Lord sees intensity in one's bhakti, intense attempt, not intense results, intense attempt in one's practice of bhakti, the Lord will give us straight facility for fueling that intensity. In all respects, the Supreme Lord is always acting to help the living entity. And therefore, if we are very clear with what we want, we will very clearly get what we want. Because Krishna is always in the mood of facilitation. But if we are not clear in what we want, we'll get everything. That becomes a big problem and obstacle. And that becomes a big hurdle. Because we get everything. By the time one comes to touching the real fabric of bhakti, a lot of time would have gone wasted. That's the point. And therefore, better not ask for everything, better not want for everything, better not choose everything. Better choose Krishna. Better choose Krishna consciousness. So we are intense and very clear. Krishna is also going to facilitate us very clearly. But if we are not intense, Krishna will give us everything. So if we are not very clear, Krishna is going to give us everything. Let's read further. It's text 44. By virtue of divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of scriptures. So advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of the scriptures, but they are automatically attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalists is explained as follows. Ahobat swapachato gariyan yajjivagare vartate namatukyam te pustapaste juhu shashnurarya brahmanuchurnama grinantiyete. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life. Even if born in the families of dog eaters, such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in the sacred places, all the sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. The famous example of this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted. Haridas Thakur is one of the most important disciples. Although Haridas Thakur happened to take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Namacharya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigidly attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of the Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas, such as Shabda Brahma, or known as Shabda Brahma. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna. So this goes to show that Krishna consciousness builds up the battery backup, because one's Vivek Shakti always remains with such a person. Even though the details of the practice might have been forgotten, but the Vivek Shakti always remains. So the process of Krishna consciousness is very interesting, because the process of Krishna consciousness is very very beautiful, because the power of discrimination the power of the power of discrimination to be able to judge higher from the lower is there with the transcendentalist always, and that is why a practitioner of bhakti will never reconcile to a lower taste, and that is why it is said that a transcendentalist taking a further birth will not be attracted to the external rituals, but will immediately grab the principle of Krishna consciousness, not just the externals of Krishna consciousness. So this is a beautiful process. So this goes to show that the power of discrimination always goes on with the transcendentalist in the next. And one who does not have much backup of practice, such a person will get bewildered every now and then. Then we say, oh, then that is a problem. Then that is also not a problem. Because one who is serious is asked by the process of bhakti to always connect to the bona fide spiritual master and his team. And by that connection, one's consciousness, or by that connection, again, one can always choose the higher aspects of bhakti rather than simply falling a trap to external rituals, or rather than simply reconciling to simply dressing oneself with the externals of rituals uh, and hankering and tasting or diving into sensuality within. So that requires basically backup. The practice of bhakti gives that backup, and one who doesn't have that backup is not at a loss because one can connect to the spiritual master. Therefore, it is explained that Krishna consciousness is automatically works out with Guru consciousness or the consciousness of the spiritual master. If there is no consciousness of spiritual master, Krishna consciousness is very difficult because it is a spiritual master who brings in Krishna in our lives. We connect to the spiritual master. If we connect to the mission of the spiritual master, and that is why sadhaka should always keep meditating how the mission of the spiritual master. How can I stand true and uphold the principles and the practices of the spiritual master? Let's try to go further. Six 45. And when a yogi engages himself with sincere endeavor in making further progress, being washed of all the contaminations, then ultimately achieving perfection after many, many births of practice, he attains the supreme goal. Person born in a particularly righteous, aristocratic, or sacred family becomes conscious of his favorable condition for executing yoga practice. With determination, therefore, he begins his unfinished task, and thus he completely cleanses himself of all the material contaminations. When he is finally free from all contaminations, he attains the supreme perfection, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the perfect stage of being freed of all contaminations. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:28. Yesham tu antagata papam jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dradavrita. After many births of executing pious activities, when one is completely freed from all contaminations and from all illusory dualities, one becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. Now, here there is an interesting aspect which we can understand. So many times people ask the question that, okay, if this is so, then this is so. I mean, this seems to be very encouraging, very hope giving. If this is so, why do all rich people, aristocratic people, not take to Krishna consciousness? Many times this question will may come because many times you see that the rich people, the children, they end up being much more spoiled because not only they have access to anything means, I mean, they have access to everything. And in everything, in the set of everything, Krishna consciousness is just one thing. And sensuality, Prabhupada says, bestial sensuality in the morning we were reading. The sensuality is all around there. And we see there, many such cases where people are caught up. So aristocracy brings about great intoxication and captivation, or great intoxication and entanglement, or aristocracy favors Krishna consciousness. That's big. That becomes a question mark because observation. So here the point which has to be noted. There's a very important point which has to be noted here because what the Lord is saying is that an unsuccessful yogi is born in an aristocratic. Just simply in mathematics, this is simply saying that, okay, all aristocratic people are not necessarily unsuccessful yogis, but an unsuccessful yogi will necessarily become an aristocrat. That is the point. So the point has to be uh, understood. I mean, this point has to be understood. So the Lord's emphasis is on unsuccessful yogi. What is going to happen? The Lord is going to facilitate. That facility may be enjoyed or avoided or attained by some other people also who are not necessarily unsuccessful yogis. But definitely an unsuccessful yogi will be an aristocrat or in the family of Brahmanas. And this also can answer the question many times we see that the parents may be devotees, but the children are not becoming devotees despite parents' all endeavors. That also substantiates this line, this directionality, that an unsuccessful advanced yogi will necessarily be born in the family of great devotees. But the other way around may not be necessarily. The other way around is not necessarily true. That means that uh, the other way around may not be necessarily true. So Krishna is going to favor devotional service. That is the whole point. Definitely. So that is why we cannot judge in bhakti. We cannot judge anything. Like if one says, okay, this family, the children are very serious devotees. That means the family is a great devotee. Other family parents, their children are not so much devoted. That means the parents are not so serious in a devotional service. No, necessarily there is no correlation there. We have to understand there is no correlation there. This kind of correlation is going to lead to a judgmental chaos leading into an offensive. If we judge by this logic, Maharaj Anga was not practicing much devotional service. If we judge by this logic, Hiranyakashipu must be he was not he should have been a practicing pure devotee like that. So there is no necessarily correlation there. Krishna is only talking in the context of, the Lord is only talking in the context of the Vaishnavas, the devotees, how the Lord is going to facilitate the devotees. The Lord is not making blanket statements on sociology. That okay, this is how you can understand who is who. We can never understand who is who. So therefore the principle has to be understood. The principle is an unsuccessful yogi will necessarily get a facilitation. But that does not mean that anybody and everybody who's on that position has been that caliber of an unsuccessful yogi. No, that's not exactly true. That's not essentially true. That's not essentially true. So therefore we can never judge. Because that judgment will lead to a great chaos actually that way. So the other thing is, the other beautiful and important thing which comes up is also that the other aspect and observation which comes up also is that we can find many devotees coming from not at all favorable family of Krishna consciousness, parent. I mean, not at all favorable parentage and family. That means what? Their practice of bhakti is low in any way after they become devotees. So these judgments are not at all realistic. That's the point. These judgments are not at all realistic. So so Krishna has his own beautiful ways of facilitation, like that. And another thing is that you see facilitation now, because we will say, okay, the Lord is saying here that so the Lord is saying that okay, I'm going to facilitate Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness once began will never be lost. That's what the Lord is saying. Now, very interestingly, we can ask a question, okay, if this were so, then Prahlad was such a great devotee of the Lord. Krishna could have made him take birth in a very, in a Mahabhagavad family, was taking birth in a demoniac family. Why so? Now, Krishna is telling, I'm going to, prapya, that punyavan, that he takes birth. The Lord is telling, I'm going to facilitate. And one way of facilitation is making them being born in a devotee family. So what happened in the case of Prahlad Maharaj? He was not born in a devotee family. Prahlad was not born in a devotee family. Is Prahlad not a devotee? No, we know Prahlad Maharaj was a Mahabhagavad. So the Lord not fulfilling his promise, that is impossible. And Hiranyakashipu, we know definitely is not a devotee at all. So what's happening? Okay. So Mohan was giving an interesting answer. He was not an unsuccessful yogi. He's a pure devotee. He's a pure devotee. Ah, ah. So, uh, well, one thing is like the Shastras, the scriptures do not. So the scriptures do not no, conclusively give the verdict that Prahlad Maharaj was a pure devotee in his previous birth. We really don't know. In one sense, because only thing we know he had swept. He had swept the temple of Lord Narasimhadev on the Narasimha Chaturdashi day. And next birth he got such an opportunity. So we really don't know. Probably yes. Probably he was almost, but almost cases just like then Bharat Maharaj case, which Prabhupada is quoting in this very line of thought, in this very line of the principle. So the interesting thing which we have to note is that Krishna is going to facilitate bhakti. And the Lord is showing us one way in which the Lord can facilitate bhakti. That does not mean there cannot be any other way. So that doesn't mean there cannot be any other way. In case of Srila Prahlad Maharaj, if you see, Prahlad Maharaj's birth was not in the palace of Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj's birth was in the palace of Narad Muni. Yeah, ashram of Narad Muni means it's a palace of Narad Muni. You know? Right. So Prahlad Maharaj's birth was in the palace of Narad Muni. Right. So now you just try to understand. Right? The birth ensures the facilitation. Prahlad Maharaj was not born in the palace of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu facilitation was not there for him. Prahlad Maharaj was born in the palace of ashram of Narad Muni, the palace of Narad Muni. That means what? Prahlad Maharaj was born in the family of Narad Muni. That is what it means. Prahlad Maharaj, that means that Prahlad Maharaj was born in the family of Narad Muni. So, so therefore Krishna's promise is fulfilled. If Krishna is saying we born the family of pure devotees, Prahlad Maharaj was born the no, so that is the point. That Prahlad Maharaj was born and Prahlad Maharaj grew, in the family of Narada Muni. So the facilitation aspect is the aspect which has to be understood. Now this becomes even more hope giving because in many of our cases, we have been traversing through trajectories which are not favorable, which are degraded. So what is the hope for us? What is the hope for us? So this goes to show that even if we attempt to intensify our Krishna consciousness, Krishna will create this hope. And therefore we should have hope. And that is why even if one is having a surrounding and situation which is not conducive for Krishna consciousness and still one attempts to intensify one's Krishna consciousness, Krishna is going to create this hope. So therefore a devotee has hope against hope. That is why a devotee has hope against hope, that come what may, nothing can stop me from attaining the lotus feet of the Lord. Neither external situations nor mental conditionings, nothing can stop me from attaining the lotus feet of the Lord. Aham tarishyami durantaparam tamo mukundangri nishevayeva. Nothing can stop me from attaining the lotus feet of the Lord. Because that is Krishna's promise. And that is what Krishna is promising here. And the Lord is saying, if you want it, I will make it happen for you. Make sure you want it, and I will give it to you. If you want to go back to Godhead, I will take you back to Godhead, the Lord is saying. It doesn't matter what material situations are. It doesn't matter what conditionings are. Nothing matters. Only matters if we desire to attain the lotus feet of the Lord will make it happen for us. And if we go on desiring and endeavoring and struggling to uphold that desire, Krishna will make it happen for us. So nothing can stop the flow of bhakti, provided one maintains that seriousness. Provided one maintains that seriousness. Yes. Yes. So the Lord further explains here, a yogi is greater than an ascetic, greater than the empiricist, and greater than the fruitive worker. Therefore, Arjuna, in all circumstances, become a yogi. And then the Lord explains in the final verse of the 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratman shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo matah. And of all the yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinking of me within himself, and renders transcendental service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. That is my opinion. So therefore, Krishna, the Lord is encouraging. Therefore, the Lord is encouraging uh, uh, the devotee in all respects. But who can take maximum benefit of this merciful disposition of the Lord? One who is very, very clear uh, that that he or she wants Krishna only. One who is, and then the Lord is saying that such a person who doesn't want to give up uh, catching hold of Krishna's lotus feet in any situation, in any circumstance. So the Lord is saying that, then such a person becomes the highest recipient, and therefore the Lord is saying such a person is very dear. Not only such a person remains very dear to the Supreme Lord, such a person goes very near the Supreme Lord also. So that is why, the intensity in yoga is dependent upon the fervent attitude of the practitioner to connect to the Supreme Lord. The fervent attitude of the practitioner to connect to the Supreme Lord. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada explains that when it comes to spiritual advancement, it is completely in the hands of the practitioner. There is no limit to which one can advance in spiritual life. Nothing can stop it. Because if one sincerely and seriously desires and upholds a desire, Krishna makes the scope. And therefore, materially there may be obstacles, encumbrances, but they can never hinder one's spiritual purpose. Spiritual advancement completely depends on the attitude of the practitioner. And if this attitude is intense, then such a person becomes a yogi of the highest caliber and becomes the recipient of oceanic mercy of the Supreme Lord and empowerment of the Supreme. So we'll stop here for today. So we are very thankful and grateful to Mother Amy and Mother Nancy. They accidentally, I mean, they happen, they happen to join us because we actually what do you call it as? We overshot our timing. So very grateful both of them join us. So do any of you have any questions?
Sorry. We're not awake.
Okay, so let's.
We're sleeping.
Hare Krishna, Amy, would you like? Do you want to ask anything? What he was discussing?
Well, so what if I was born in a family of upper middle class Christian white people in New England? Does that give me any insight to where I might have been before that, or just like you just don't know?
So family of upper middle class Christians, you said?
What? Yeah, Christians, upper middle class Christians.
Yes. So
Not aristocrats, but you know, well off, very well off, but not like super rich.
yes. So bhakti is like now bhakti is like a continuum. You know, Krishna consciousness is not discrete, and therefore the Lord's reciprocation is also not discrete. So when the Lord is describing here, so a family of upper middle class, no, Srila Prabhupada explains, you know, what Prabhupada explains about America. Prabhupada explains that, okay, if you have taken birth in America, then just the birth in America, that means it's a very comfortable birth.
Mm-hmm.
And that means there is Krishna's reciprocation. Because in like if you see in the world around, in many third world countries, birth itself means a stigma, because even to survive with basic facilities, or the basic ingredients for survival becomes such a great ordeal. So therefore, Prabhupada says that, okay, being born in the land of America itself is Krishna's facilitation, that there is a comfortable position. Because there is a comfortable position. In that upper middle class, that means it's a more comfortable position. Nah?
Yeah.
In that, a pious family means it is not just a comfortable position. The Lord has arranged a situation that the Lord is encouraging a directionality towards God.
Yeah.
So that means so that definitely indicates it definitely indicates that there has been a practice of devotional service in the previous life.
My mother directed me to God.
So basically,
it was my mother who directed me to God. It was my mother who directed me to God. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that is
And your
Krishna's
grandmother
mercy,
too.
right?
And my grandmother too. She taught me to do the rosary, which is like this kind of stuff, only half as many beads and you do Our Father and the Hail Mary, and so she taught me how to do that. So I was set up pretty well to be directed towards God. And my mom prayed out loud all the time, please God, let my car get up the snowy hill.
So this is Krishna's grace actually. Krishna is very merciful. Krishna is very, very merciful. So, so therefore, actually, the Lord facilitates in all respects that that all his sons and daughters, they are comfortable. At the same time, they are reminded of a direction to come towards him. They are reminded of a direction to come towards him. Now, this does not mean that one who is not having that comfortable position has no opportunity. The moment such a person also starts desiring that Krishna, I want to come to you, Krishna can change the destiny of everything. It doesn't necessarily mean that only in the next life the destiny will change. That same life, Krishna can change the destiny also. So, and to show this, the Lord is showing examples like Prahlad Maharaj and Haridas Thakur. And so one can, so therefore, all what we need to do is to have the right intense desire to obtain the lotus feet of the Lord. And everything is going to be facilitated by the Supreme. No material conditionings, no material inabilities and obstacles can stop us.
All people born in aristocratic families.
Yes.
So why it is.
Okay, there is one question in the chat. All the people born in aristocratic family or family of devotees is not fallen transcendental. Still they got the facility by the Lord. So why is it? Yeah, even a person many times, because you see these families are not only good and good for bhakti, they can be good for many other reasons also. Aristocratic family is good for a sense gratifier also to be born in, especially if one is pious. Pious, not wanting Krishna, wanting a lot of sense gratification. Such a person may also be given an aristocratic family. And a devotee family is also very good for many other reasons also. Not just for a devotee, but there are many others who may also want to, because it's very warm, it's very sweet. There's a devotee family, no? So just because of the warmth and sweetness also, one can desire, no? Like many materialistic people, they don't want to practice bhakti, but they want to be with devotees because they're such good people. No? It's not want to be with people who are not exploitative, who are not political, who are not diplomatic. They don't want to practice. We have so many examples like that. So if they are asked to make a choice, they will always choose a devotee. There are so many company managers who will always want to recruit devotees. They said, okay, more like you, only like you. Why? Because not that they are interested in bhakti, but they are interested in the sweet, wonderful qualities which a devotee has. So for that reasons also, so there can be many such reasons like that. And there can be many such people who are fitting in these uh, vacancies. That is why we have to make sure that our practice of bhakti in this life is intense enough to go back to Godhead. And in case there is some catastrophe and one is not able to make it back to Godhead, it should be intense enough that we occupy one of these positions of for devotees family, and they are not occupied by some others who has some other motivations, like that. So that kind of so yes, therefore seriousness is required. Okay, so let's stop here for today. Yes. Yes. Okay. So bhakti. Yeah. So what conditions we have now, that doesn't matter so much. But what matters is what is our desire. If we desire to attain Krishna, Krishna can create favorable situation even in the most unfavorable circumstances. That is there. So bhakti is completely dependent on our desires and our efforts, and Krishna reciprocates to them. Yes. And shelter of Guru, Devabhuti is saying. Yes. Okay, so let's stop here for today. And Mother Amy and Mother Nancy, you both of you can continue with Devabhuti, and we will take your leave. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We are very
Hare
sorry actually.
Krishna. Devahuti. You
Hari
look so
Bol, Mother
beautiful
Amy.
today. You look so beautiful
And you look
today.
so energetic. Thank you so much. You know what? Tomorrow I'm going to see my parents. I'm going to my parents'
Nice.
place. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Mother
Nice.
Nancy. Yes. I thought to pay a visit because it has been long. I've not been there. It's for 2 days. I'm going. And I'm very sorry because Prabhu said that he will complete his class by 9 o'clock, but then it got extended. So,
That's okay. It was
like,
interesting. It was interesting. I liked it.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's your sincerity. So he was discussing Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, the last few verses.
Hmm.
And like Krishna helps. Even if there is a good situation, Krishna will give us intelligence to be grateful and utilize it towards more surrender, toward Krishna, towards um, more focus in our spiritual life. And if somebody is going through a bad situation, whether financially or socially or mentally or physical health wise, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we stay in association of devotees. Krishna will empower us even to go through and grow through the difficult times. So that's why Krishna is beyond the modes. He is Bhagavan. So because of the modes, if we are caught up in some situation, Krishna can anytime, any moment lift us up. So that's why, yeah, if there is some good time, we are grateful. But if there is some bad time, no problem. We are getting our lesson and we are becoming more fixed up in bhakti. Yeah. Sometimes we have to swim along the current and sometimes we have to swim just struggling.
Mm.
Like, this is what is my understanding of it, that this is Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, we can't expect that everything is going to be very rosy. There will be a lot of thorns
You expect
hidden
some
in.
thorns? You expect some thorns in
Yeah,
those roses?
yeah, yeah. So that's why at least those thorns are the reminder that this is not my real home. My real home is in spiritual world. So the difficulty in the current life make us understand this body is not my real body. This is not my eternal body. This is my material body, and I have to utilize it to accomplish my spiritual goal. You know, so we take care of the body, but we are not obsessed with the perfection of our body or perfection of accomplishment in the material life. Yeah. Because we are on a journey. In journey, we have little adjustment so that we can focus on our destination. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's
So
helpful.
please,
Yeah.
thank you. How's your mother?
You know, the only person she'll let visit her is my dad. She doesn't want to have visitors except for my dad. And
Oh,
he conveys the information to my sister Jen, and then she sends it out to my family. So it's all kind of like confused. But she just had a procedure called like a bronchiometry or something. Bronchial.
tracheostomy,
No, not a tracheotomy.
but they have
Something.
done in bronchus.
Yeah, bronchus. Yeah. So she's got an infection in there, so they had to do something, and they
Yeah.
did take the tube out. There was a tube getting the fluid out. They took
Yes.
that out, and let me just see what it was called. Let me see. I'm sure
Yeah.
I still have the text message. Um, bronchoscopy? A bronchoscopy?
Oh, bronchoscopy. Yeah.
What is that? What does that
So,
mean?
yeah, bronchoscopy means like we do endoscopy, no? Endoscopy means we put a we put a endoscope inside to examine. So bronchoscopy means we are putting it in the airways to see the exact situation inside the lungs. Like
So it's
we
like a
have,
test. It's a
yeah, it's
test, not a,
diagnostic
okay.
tool. It's a diagnostic tool. And if along with that, they find something that they can cure. So they can do it in the same setting if they find it something like, but mostly it's diagnostic to find out the cause or to collect some sample. Like that fluid is there. They want to do some test. What kind of it is? But
Yeah. Okay.
she's
So
going
that's
through
all I
tough
know.
time. Yeah.
So that's all I know. So she's not coming to Thanksgiving. And
Um,
yeah, so she's
we
not coming. She won't be there for
pray. We
Thanksgiving.
will
So,
pray for her healthy recovery. Yeah.
yeah.
We pray for her healthy recovery. That's the worst part of as age progresses. We don't know what kind of illness and health issue we have to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll be
Yes.
different
What
not
about Mother
having her.
Nancy? Yeah. Sorry.
I'm just
Please
saying
say.
it will be a lot different not having her there on a holiday. A lot
Yeah, that the
different.
Thanksgiving Day is a holiday time in US.
Mm-hmm.
For
Yeah,
how
we
many
have,
days?
oh, it's just one day.
Okay.
Just one day. Thanksgiving, there's like a big feast. It's a feast to give thanks. Yeah.
To God or to each other, to everyone?
For everything. To God,
Okay.
thanks to God. Thanks for all the stuff. Thanks for the food. Thanks for giving me these people I love, you know,
Nice.
that
Yeah,
kind of
that day
stuff.
will miss her. No, maybe she'll join next year or she'll join. At least I pray that if she can join back in Christmas because
Hmm.
Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
And you know what? In the same month of Christmas, as per the lunar calendar, that day comes that we call as Gita Jayanti. The day Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjun comes in December, but the date is not
Okay.
as per English calendar. Date is as per
Oh.
lunar calendar. So it's like in lunar calendar there are 15 days when the moon is, you know, waxing, and 15 days moon is waning. So this then there comes Ekadashi. Ekadashi in Sanskrit means Ekadash means 11. So the 11th day of moon is known as Ekadashi. So one of the Ekadashi is known as Mokshada Ekadashi. Moksha means liberation. So on this Mokshada Ekadashi, Bhagavan Sri Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. That tree where Krishna spoke, it was a tree. That site where Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita is still there in Kurukshetra. It's near my hometown where my parents stay. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm going to
Cool.
Chandigarh. Yeah, and Kurukshetra is nearby. So that place where this battle happened, Bhagavad Gita was spoken, still existing.
I would
It's
like to go
there.
there.
Just yeah, you just get healthy.
Fresh air.
Yeah, I was saying that you get this healthy fast, and then both of you can plan to come to India. We pray that that arrangement is there. Then Vrindavan, Mayapur, Kurukshetra, because we are hearing about Krishna, and when we see those places, then it's really like so special.
Yeah. Take some pictures. Send me some pictures.
Yeah, I'll send picture. This time I'm just going for 2 days. I won't be going to Kurukshetra because I'm just there for
Oh,
2 days. I'll be in Chandigarh.
okay.
But Yeah, I'll be in Chandigarh and I'll attend two temple programs. There one is like that's on a chariot. We take the Lord Krishna out. Like it's a how to explain? It's called a Ratha Yatra. Means like sometimes people are too busy. They are not coming inside temple to take darshan. But then Krishna loves us so much. He sits on a huge chariot, and everyone is like pulling the cart actually, and singing Hare Krishna, distributing prasadam to everyone on the way. So that way, it's a huge Rath Yatra that goes on. So that's the
Nice.
festival where everybody comes on roads, they chant Hare Krishna, they offer flowers, fruits, and like different offerings to the Lord, and that prasadam is distributed to everyone. So it's like free prasadam food distribution in the whole city wherever this yatra parade will go, and everybody is getting an opportunity to see the Lord and to chant Hare Krishna. So that
That
is
sounds
there.
wonderful.
Yeah,
That
that's
sounds like a
special to
party.
participate.
Sounds
Yes,
like a party.
yes. Krishna personally getting involved in the party.
Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that's God Nitai's quote. These two people, I think they forgot to zoom out. They are not there. The one is it's a beautiful form of Lord in one of the profile. Two people are on. Can you see?
Participants. Let's see. Um, I see that two people have their cameras off.
But one of them has put uh ni- this is God Nitai. Actually, you know Bhagavan Ram.
Yeah.
You know Ram. So this Ram is same as Krishna. They just came in different yugas.
Mm.
Same way, like when Bhagavan Ram came, with him was his brother Lakshman, Ram Lakshman. When Krishna came, with Krishna, his brother Balaram. So they come like this: Krishna Balaram, Ram Lakshman. And in Kali Yuga, in the first Sandhya, the first phase of Kali Yuga, Krishna came as Gauranga. He is Krishna, but he came in the mood of Radharani to give us Hare Krishna Mahamantra. When you will come to Mayapur, that is Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's another name is Gauranga. With him came Lakshman and Balramji. Lakshman and Balram are same. They came as Nityananda. Say Nityananda.
Nityananda.
Yeah, Nityananda.
Nityananda.
Always, yeah, thank you so much. Mother Nancy say Nityananda, Nityananda, Nitya Ananda, Nityananda. Always in bliss.
Nityananda. Nancy, she
Yeah,
wants you
these
to
are the
say
most
it.
message.
Nityananda.
Say it. What?
Yeah, she wants you to say Nityananda.
Nityananda.
Hey, Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Yeah. The most special incarnations of Krishna in this age of Kali, that both the brothers came us to give Hare Krishna Mahamantra, this Sankirtana. So the photo you are seeing here, Darshan, he is Nityananda. You are seeing Nityananda in one of the profile pic of
I
one of the
don't see the.
participants. You are not able to see. If you scroll that participant, na, just scroll. Don't scroll through the participant. Scroll through the screen. You will find everyone there. Could you see?
No.
You just. Oh, okay. Later I'll share. That's why I was sharing.
Wait,
We are
maybe
able to
it's
see the
because
Lord
I'm
there.
not on full screen. No, I am on full screen. More.
Okay. Later I will share if you are not able to see. Let's move
Okay.
further. I'll share you Nityananda's photos.
Okay.
Okay. Have you read those verses? First, tell me about the Krishna book. Have you read that?
Yeah. And
Oh, nice.
unfortunately,
So kind of
Sunshine
you.
is sitting on my questions.
Yeah.
But
Hare Krishna, sunshine.
so the individual, okay. So on page 20 in 2.23,
2.23.
second paragraph.
Okay.
The individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance. How does that happen? And consequently became covered. So how do you become ignorant? If you're already if you're already in Krishna consciousness or whatever, how do you become ignorant? Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're a soul and you're not ignorant, then what makes you become ignorant?
No.
Because they're eternal, right? The souls are eternally
Soul is
separated.
eternal. Yeah. So the question of ignorance comes when we forget our relationship with Krishna. This ignorance came because of envy from Krishna.
Envy. Oh, envy. That's what happened to Satan.
Yeah.
It is. He tried to compete. He was an angel. He tried to compete with God and he got cast
Oh,
out.
what was her name?
Satan.
Saint.
Satan.
Yeah, so originally everybody, they are that Satchidananda full of bliss, knowledge and eternity. Till the time they white, like at present also we are soul. But how we got so covered up that we need to revive our relationship with God. That covering is due to ignorance. And how this ignorance came? Because we wanted to forget Krishna. We wanted to ignore Krishna because of enviousness. I don't want you. And then will come the forgetfulness. And hold on. Haribol, can you answer one thing? अगर आत्मा नित्य है तो आत्मा अज्ञानता में कैसे गई? क्योंकि हम तो ओरिजिनली इग्नोरेंस में नहीं थे. एक मिनट. He'll help in this, huh? Hold on.
Yeah, so one can be eternal at the same time.
We are eternal.
So we are eternal, but that doesn't mean that we can never fall trap into illusion. Just like one can be a sane man, a very intelligent person, but if one is intoxicated, then one may behave insane.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's what drugs can do. So one is intoxicated. Similarly, uh, uh, the jiva is not in a right state. Now, who is responsible for that? No, like say a drug addict behaving in a violent fashion or behaving in a no antisocial fashion. Who is responsible for that? That drug addict himself or herself, because who has told them to take the drugs? So right. In the same way, the jiva is very intelligent, very sane, having all good qualities originally. But the jiva takes these intoxicants of the degradations, no, this,
Envy. That
yeah. So that envy and the material world, the sense gratification is like an intoxicant. And when that intoxicant is taken, then that originally, no, level-headed, far-sighted, saintly, minded jiva becomes a bad guy.
Okay. That's an excellent explanation. Thank you.
was it helpful?
Yeah, that was helpful.
I thought you were standing here. It was helpful.
It was
Haribol.
helpful. Can I ask you a question about what we were talking about last week? With the soul,
Yeah.
with the soul
Yeah.
entering a new body.
Yes, just one thing before that, from where you picked up this was that Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul came into existence simply by ignorance and consequently became covered by illusory energy. This is what you were asking just now. So actually, the whole thing is that the Mayavadi people, like they have their mental speculation, they think they are God.
everyone is God. So then if somebody asks them, if you are God, I am God, then how we are into some lust, anger, greed, envy, diseases, huh? How we are sad, upset, crying, huh? Fighting. So that's where their theory fails. They are saying we all are God. Everyone is God. So what
So
kind of
is
God we are?
Mayavadi, sorry, is Mayavadi a religion or is that a description of the envious
Ma-
people?
yeah, Mayavadi are actually envious of God, but they project
Okay, so that's
themselves
like the
as, yeah,
definition. That's the
yeah.
definition. Okay.
They actually portray them that they are great spiritualists. So when you'll come to India, many times you will see externally they are looking like devotees, but they don't follow scripture. They don't follow Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. They have their own mental speculation that we all are God, and purpose of life is to become God again.
Hmm.
Very bogus. So this Mayavadi sect, they come as they will be seen as spiritualists. They might sometimes try to speak and explain Bhagavad Gita, but they explain Bhagavad Gita in a wrong way. They remove Krishna from Bhagavad Gita. Their theory is very bogus. They say, like, Krishna is also material, though it is clearly written, Krishna is clearly telling he is beyond the modes. So because they are so envious of Krishna actually. So the Mayavadi means one who is envious of Krishna, one who disregard Krishna's words of wisdom, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, one who disregards spiritual world. One so like their very concept is wrong. We have read in chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita that we are eternal part and parcel of God, and our individuality remain even after we change our bodies. But their concept is that there is no God, we are only God.
Hmm.
So how one God is fighting with another God, one God is cheating another God. That was it. Please ask the last, yeah, like how the soul enters, you were saying.
Oh, how the soul enters. So you said that the soul is in the sperm, right? That
Yeah.
fertilizes the egg. Do the other sperm have souls in them?
That's a good question to ask. Yeah. It's not that the sperm is carrying the soul there only. Like it's all the time with all the sperms are having souls. It is but during that act and their consciousness, if they are in ignorance, then some demoniac soul or the soul having a lot of bad karma will get attracted and enter through semen into the mother's womb.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at that moment. And hold on, this
So it's
also
at
I'll
the
check with
moment of
him.
conception. It's at the
I
moment of
guess,
conception.
yeah, moment of conception, soul enters through semen. So
Okay.
that's why it is like if the husband and wife they are having very good God consciousness, they will invite a good soul. But if they are having a very demoniac life full of anger, greed, and all, means so many because there are so many souls around, they want a body, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to invite the right one in our family. So that's why, as per the Vedic scriptures, it's not that any time or like there is like there should be prayers, blessing of parents, blessing of God, and then this conception should be done. But people
Mm-hmm.
are doing it randomly. So there are so many souls, like people are committing suicides also, some unnatural deaths also. There's so many souls that they don't have bodies, and
Mm-hmm.
they are just looking which womb to enter.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So that happens. So that's why. And one just point, I'll just like wherever I'm lacking, I just confirm with them. Hold on, just this only I'll ask once because I should convey the right thing to you. Hold on. Prabhu, just a minute. Like what is that? I have like
Hello, Moto.
Hi, I'm in a class right now. Can I call you after?
Sneak
I'll,
me into class.
I'll call you after class, okay?
Sneak me in.
All right, bye.
Okay. So I asked him, many souls are? Yeah, this is what I was saying. Many souls are waiting for a body. So it's like, I just, so actually during the time of conception, that many sperms, they are carrying many souls. And there is a
Okay, so they
competition.
all have
Yeah.
souls? Do they all have souls?
Yeah. And like,
Okay.
it's a complex mechanism. So I just asked actually how the soul enters the system, the food we eat. So,
Ah,
yeah. It's like, I think in the
okay.
Bible also, like, originally, like, souls come through grains and that way, but that doesn't mean that we make it so complicated. It's like during that time, yeah, it's souls are entering through, but it's not that all the souls are so active and like they are just trying to get a body, but only one gets. Okay.
So does the
What is,
food you
yeah,
does the
I
food you
know
eat
this question will
affect
come.
does the food you eat affect like what soul comes into your womb? Like
Oh,
does it
yes,
matter
that,
like what you eat, the quality of your food, does that affect the
yeah,
like
what you're asking. Yes, and yeah, the quality of food will affect our consciousness also. So, and will attract the soul of the same nature. So yeah, that is why we should eat food in the mode of sattva. So, it because if we are eating non-veg, we are killing. We are taking their bodies. Everyone is so attached to the body. You know. So when we are taking out we are killing and getting the bodies. So what about the souls who left those bodies after animal killing? They are roaming around. They want to get a body. And like we are so attached to our body, they are also attached to our body. That's why we should not eat non-veg because those souls are then, you know, searching their body. They might come to us.
Okay. All right. It's not something I need to worry about anymore. I'm just like curious, I just
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just it's just interesting.
Yeah. And would
Yeah,
you like
sorry.
to share? Have you shifted to that day you were asking about turkeys and eggs? So are you taking diet in the sattva? Have you
What?
like I'm just asking that day long back you were asking, are you taking food in the mode of goodness or it's still you're having non-veg?
I'm still having some non-veg. I've decreased it a lot. I hardly ever eat it, but if I go to somebody's house and they serve it, then I eat it. And if it's at Thanksgiving, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty traditional in America to eat turkey on Thanksgiving, so I guess I won't eat it, but I'm very happy to get the mashed potatoes and the stuffing. But the gravy, I want the gravy, and the gravy comes from the turkey, you know. So the gravy, it's like how Nancy, you probably do you know how to make gravy?
Huh?
Do you know how to make gravy?
Do I like gravy? Yeah.
No, do you know how to make it?
I made it last year.
How did you do it?
Basically, there's recipes online. you take the drippings from the turkey,
Yeah, the drippings from the turkey. Yeah.
and then you put in like
So it's
cornstarch and
so it's basically corpse juice. It's corpse juice. So I shouldn't eat it. And now that I'm talking to you about it, I've decided that I will not eat the gravy on Thanksgiving. Oh, and the stuffing, Devahuti.
That's the real Thanksgiving.
They
Yeah.
stuff it into the bird. The stuffing, it's called stuffing because they stuff it into the bird and then they cook the bird and then you eat the bird and the stuffing. So, I mean,
It's very horrible. It's very
look at
horrible.
it's so like I'm trying to not eat that. I'm trying to not eat meat, but I think it's a little more difficult in the United States because it's everywhere you go, you know? But I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But I
Yeah,
am offering food to
I'm
Krishna. I am offering my food to Krishna before I eat it. I
perfect.
put the
Perfect. So nice.
I light a little candle and you know, then I eat it after 10 minutes or so. So I am doing that and I have
Nice.
transitioned to hardly any meat, but once in a while I'm still eating it. But now that I'm talking to you about
Yeah.
it, I will probably stop. I'll probably stop
Yeah,
because I don't
Krishna
want
will
my body
empower
to be
you
a
too.
graveyard. Because I don't want my body
Yeah.
to be a graveyard. Didn't you say in
Yeah.
here somewhere that you're
You're
making
very
your body
intelligent.
into a graveyard? I don't want
Yeah.
that. So,
You're very kind
yeah.
and intelligent. It's just that the time was separating you from the absolute reality. Yeah, I do understand when everybody is having around and we were used to eating it before, and it becomes difficult. But once we come on the spiritual path, because now we have, see, already so much time of our life has gone into so much of experimentation, and this human life is very rare, and we have a huge spiritual goal to accomplish. And Krishna is so kind that he's ready to forgive our past. Otherwise, if that account goes on, how many killing and how much we have taken inside our body, as per Garud Puran, we have to take that many births in that species. But if we
Yeah.
promise to Krishna that we don't want to do it anymore, no more cruelty towards any living being, then Krishna is ready to forgive all the past.
Mm.
You know,
Well,
that is
what
so
about
special.
if it's already dead? I mean, the turkey is already dead because,
Yeah, I will say.
but
Dead because of
because
other people.
yeah, because of other people, the turkey is already dead.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, there
there,
are
we're
two things
eating
to
it.
understand. Yeah. Like it's even in human life, if somebody commits a crime and there is a murder and the whole team of investigation happens, then is it the person who only kills get the punishment? No, the person who disposes the body, the person who shifts the body. Like in human cases, no, somebody has murdered some man or some women. So one who plans the homicide, everybody is part of the crime. So
Mm.
when in human life we are counting this way, that it's not one person who has shot this person, who brought the pistol, who arranged, later on who shifted the body. So this is even in human law we are following this. Like, isn't it like simple to understand that in God's law, He is watching what we are doing with everyone. So
Yeah,
we
I
are
did.
participating in that sinful activity, means like we are participating. That's the one part of it. Because why I should, if like why I should, even if somebody has killed, why I should participate in it? Because I am participating in that karma. I am taking share of that karma. Then another thing is that even if dead, my body is not a graveyard. The turkey is attached to the body. We have taken the body out of taken the body from that soul who was in turkey's body. So we will get definitely the reaction. That is like it's because of ignorance people are suffering. This is ignorance. They are thinking it is taste of the tongue. We are enjoying, but God will say what kind, like, very sorry, no offenses, but you try to see from God's eyes, from Jesus' eyes also. Like, He will say, what kind of Thanksgiving is this? You're thanking me by killing others?
But Jesus ate fish. We know he ate fish.
Oh, I don't know that. Like, what
Jesus,
I
we know
heard once,
Jesus.
yeah,
Sorry, go
what I
ahead.
heard once that if there is no vegetarian food remaining on the planet
Hmm.
and you are in that crisis that if you don't eat, you will die. I think in only that exceptional condition it is allowed, not for the taste of the tongue, you know,
Mm.
not for the taste of the tongue.
Yeah.
Because, and then we
So,
have covered the verses from Bhagavad Gita, like food affects our consciousness.
yeah, it's just been
I,
hard for me to let go of, but I will.
no, it's
I'll let go of
possible.
it.
It's so nice. We are doing it at home.
I
Yeah,
definitely stopped eating mammals. I stopped eating mammals. So that's
so nice.
that's
But
that's
we
one
have to,
step.
yeah, I pray that you get the strength, both of you, because if we want to go back to Krishna in one lifetime, we have to at least pay this much. Because
All
one who
right.
becomes a lover of God loves everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, suppose if I have a child and somebody eats up that child, what
Oh
a
my
pain the
God!
mother.
Oh my God, Devahuti, how could you even say such a thing? Oh my
Why
God,
I
that's
said such a
horrifying. That
thing?
is horrifying.
Why I said such a thing that when we talk about this, even talking we feel so horrifying. What about that
Yeah.
those innocent creatures?
No, you're
They
right.
also
And you
have a
know, I was
language.
a vegetarian, as a vegetarian starting in high school through college. And then when I got pregnant, the doctor was like, you have to eat animal protein. And that's when I started
Yeah.
eating it again. And so yeah.
Yeah, sometimes
So,
doctors
but
also misguide because they think that only through animals will get protein. Like my mother, she has three children and she was
mhm,
very young. I think she was just 24 or 25, mother of three children.
mhm.
All three of us are very healthy. Never went through any episodes of severe like hospitalization in our childhood. And all three of us are born through the normal delivery. There was no cesarean section done. And my
Mhm.
mother, she's a strict vegetarian. And even if somebody has, this is social propaganda that take animal protein because the people are having a very solid body even in vegetarian diet, and there are so many vegetarian products that contain more protein, you know, that contain
Like peanut butter,
like
like peanut butter,
yes, like
peanut
pumpkin
butter.
seeds, yeah, pumpkin seeds. There's so much like
All
lotus
right,
seeds.
I will eat more peanut butter. And
Yeah, you can try. I'll share some other options also. It's like lotus seeds. Yeah, don't worry. Milk is also having proteins. At least for taking milk,
I
we are
have
not
a
killing
question.
animals. Yeah.
Okay, so milk is okay. What about eggs? I mean, the eggs are unfertilized,
You
right? The
asked
eggs you
this.
get at the store are
Yeah.
unfertilized. So is that okay?
Yeah. You asked this question before as well, and I've answered this.
Oh,
Whether
I
it's
did.
fertilized or unfertilized egg, the question is it's an egg. And that animal is in different consciousness. We are taking that consciousness in, and that
Mhm.
egg's natural. Why God has given egg to that animal so that further fertilization take place. We are stopping in between. If humans don't interfere, there is no question of having unfertilized egg. You know,
Mhm.
Humans started behaving, exploiting the hens, chickens to get more and more eggs, and they don't
Yeah,
let the fertilization take place.
the chickens are treated so badly. I mean, it's
Yeah,
really bad how horrible the chicken conditions are. So, okay,
yeah.
Devahuti, you've convinced me.
Sorry.
You've convinced me.
See, I love you, and I cannot compromise when I'm sharing something. And
Of course
like
not.
medically, spiritually, both way, the job of a devotee, the job of a doctor is to present the facts as it is, so that you know
I can
it will
change.
be
I'm
helpful.
just changing gradually. I can
Yeah,
change. I'm
that
just changing
yes,
gradually.
yes.
Yeah.
No pressure,
Yeah.
no force. Krishna will give you the strength. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Krishna is
all
giving
right.
you
So
the strength.
thank you for
Yeah.
answering that, Devahuti. That was
And
very,
I'm sorry, I never want to make any offenses, but like keep remembering both of you throughout the week, and both of you are such sincere souls, you know. So
yeah.
my aim and desire is that just one life. Let's go back to Godhead. Why to give a half try?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If, yes, it's nothing is impossible. Like what we in India, like we were not happy. Like before coming to ISKCON, I was not all the time offering my food to Krishna. But I changed myself. And since 15 years, I don't take anything inside that is not offered to Krishna. I made that commitment. It has been 15 years that I will not see. It's difficult, like being in a professional life, if people are around, they are offering you food. But I tell them, I'm sorry, I value that you're offering food to me, but I have a commitment with Krishna. I cannot take food that is not offered to Krishna. So that has protected my consciousness. Otherwise, I would have been into so much materialism that, just obsessed with the body, want to make a lot of money at the cost of cheating my patients. So I didn't go in any wrong track because I kept my food sacred. I made it sure that I will take Krishna Prasad. Hmm. I said that day, this tongue, if we are able to control the tongue, we can control all the senses. So I was just sharing
Sunshine's
that.
watching you. Sunshine's watching you.
Hare Krishna,
Where is she?
sunshine. Can you bring it little down so that I can see her? Why it's so beautiful. Hari bol. Hare Krishna. Sunshine.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Okay.
nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
they are also attending. So that's it. So I was just sharing, like, it's not that it was easy for us also because all the time, and like when we go to our relatives, family, friends, and all. But I made it very clear: those who truly love me, they will love my value system also. So my friends in my medical school, they knew it that she doesn't take food that is not offered to Krishna. So they respected that. Because if I will keep switching to every person that, okay, no, I will never get a chance to switch to Krishna Prasadam totally. So my friends, yes, I was not taking the medical school, they know. Otherwise, I could not have started even till now. Because first, for the friends, I'm compromising my relation with Krishna. Then for my professional life, I'm compromising my relation with Krishna. Then in my married life, because if my husband says, like, if my husband is not a devotee, then he would have also asked me. Then for every person and situation, I'm just compromising my real purpose of human life. So I made it sure that God is my first priority, and those who love me, they will love and value my value system. I don't force them to force what I am practicing, but at least, they should not drag me out of, like, against my will into certain activity that my consciousness doesn't allow. That's why I made it sure, that I marry a person who values my spiritual life. Because for me, my spiritual life is the most vital, most important part of my life. Because having understood Bhagavad Gita from the very beginning, I made it sure I'll never deprioritize my spiritual life. Doesn't matter what it costs. Because it's a great blessing in my life that I got introduced to Bhagavad Gita. I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Like in the class, Prabhu was saying about spiritual master. Yeah, and I was mentioning you about my spiritual master, Guru, one who removes the darkness, ignorance from our life. So if I would have lived a diluted life, means always trying to satisfy each and every person around, I would not have been today in a situation where I'm sharing Bhagavad Gita with wherever, like, it's all Krishna's arrangement that I am able to share Bhagavad Gita, this joy. I am able to see you as my own family. Otherwise, I would have been caught just. So that's why Krishna first, God first. Yes.
Devahuti, I have to get going.
Yeah. And my husband
Can
is waiting for dinner. Yes. He came in between. Yeah.
Thank you for
So he
answering my
came in between. I said,
questions. Yeah. Can you give us the homework for next week before I
um,
go? Let me get a
yes,
pen.
maybe. Mm, What do you like to do? You would like to complete the further verses from chapter 2 only, because chapter 2 is like summarization of Bhagavad Gita, and then
Yeah,
one
let's
verse from one
yeah,
verse from what 6.47. 6.47.
6.47. Okay. And
And then
then
second chapter, till which verse we have done?
we've done till 2.25.
So
25.
then we can do another 5. Another 5 we can do.
Okay. 2.26
Yeah.
to 31.
7:28. Yeah. 28. Because that will give us a complete understanding about soul. And you can
Okay.
share that with Mother Nancy. And have you chanted your rounds today morning?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we have. We have. Thank you, Devahuti.
Hari
This has
Bol,
been
Hare
very
Krishna.
Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare
Okay.
Bol. Sorry if I was said anything insensitively, but I was just
Oh
trying to
no,
share.
you were great. You were great. I did not feel judged.
Hare
I'm
Krishna.
Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
we love you so much and we just want to share what we have.
Yeah, I love you too. I love you too. And I'm trying and I'm gonna get it.
Yes, you can. You're a very strong and determined lady. And you will
Thank
make
you.
sure Mother Nancy also catch up the spiritual speed. Because we
Yeah,
are not
I'll
going to
peer
leave you
pressure her.
behind. We want to
I'm really
we
good
want
at
to
peer
take you with
pressure.
us. Yeah.
All right.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Okay. Thank you